Everlasting, the Legacy Podcast, is the official companion podcast to the upcoming MPB original documentary, focusing on the life of Medgar Evers. The companion podcast, hosted by me, Rita Brent, will feature in-depth conversations, extended interviews, and exclusive archive footage not shown in the documentary. Everlasting, the Legacy Podcast, video and audio episodes premiere September 18th. Find it on mpbonline.org or wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The nation's longest-running traveling celebration of traditional arts, the National Folk Festival comes to downtown Jackson for the first time, November 7th through the 9th. A fun-filled weekend for the entire family, exploring roots, richness, and variety of American culture. Non-stop music and dance, folk life demonstrations, hands-on children's activities, signature Southern foods, crafts, and more showcasing the best of America, the best of Mississippi, all free. We'll see you in November. More at nationalfolkfestival.com.
Malcolm, it's a beautiful morning.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. How are you, Carol?
Malcolm, I'm great. How about you?
Real good. You know, it's summertime, and 'tis the season of the nightshades, which is always a great time to celebrate.
So have you been eggplanting? And
eggplanting, cucumbering, tomatoing, peppering, squashing, and all of that.
Yes, on my list today is to get your refrigerator pickle recipe.
Oh,
okay.
Well, I really don't have one, but I'll tell you how I do it.
You just make it up? Well, tell me.
Yeah, I just make it up. Vinegar, salt, pepper. I use dill, and it depends on whether I want them to be sour or sweet. Sugar.
I want sweet.
Put some sugar in there.
Fresh dill, or
I think
shake it out of the bottle.
I shake it out of the bottle, but fresh would be even better, I would think.
Okay.
And what are those little round things, those pickling spices that they make?
Yeah.
Sometimes I use that. A lot of times I'll take a jar of pickles that I'm finished with and put some of its brine in with what I'm doing, just to use kind of.
And this is because you're Malcolm.
I don't
Carol.
know.
I'm Carol, the one with the recipes, and you're Mal. You're just all over the place.
All over the place. And speaking of this being all over the place, welcome to the neighborhood. And you did a bunch of cooking over the weekend.
I did.
Or the week.
I had just my wonderful West Hinds County friends and neighbors, Ray and Nancy Nilsson, over for lunch and had a summer lunch. You would have been proud, Mal.
What was on the menu?
I had a wonderful shrimp salad, and the secret ingredient was Arno's Creole mustard.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was
Anything
nice.
from Arno's. Bruce Browning, whose birthday is this week, he's a great friend of ours, used to always say when we were at a dinner, particularly if we were eating out at a fancy restaurant, and the check would come, and of course it would not go to Bruce.
It would never go to
or
Bruce.
Or if it came to Bruce, he would hand it over. He would sort of push.
What, he had little alligator hands? Is that what they call it?
He'd push back from the table, and he would go, that was delicious. Next time, I'm buying at Arno's. And, of course, the next time never came.
It never came, but I did a shrimp salad and then a tomato tart because 'tis the season.
Nightshades.
And then a peach galette, a rustic galette. It was, you just roll out the pastry, pile on the peaches, and crimp up the edges. Just beautiful.
Wow. Now, were these white peaches?
They were not.
Okay.
They were.
We've been buying white peaches that are really delicious.
Have you been getting the little donut peaches or big white peaches?
No, they're big ones. Mm-hmm. We get them at Whole Foods.
Yeah. Were
nothing fancy.
These were from Doris Berry's Farmers Market on Highway 80 from Chilton County, Alabama.
We had some tomato. I had a tomato pie this past week. I was in Bay St. Louis, and our great friend Estes Key made one of his signature tomato pies. And they were from Alabama. The tomatoes were from. He likes to use Creoles, but he couldn't find any, so he used some from somewhere in Alabama. There's a little stand down there in Pass Christian where you can get the peaches right there by the Walmart. On Highway 90.
Yeah.
There's a little vacant lot, and there's always a truck out there with.
Well, I know he made the tomato pie just for you.
Gosh, it was good.
I know. I was bemoaning the fact this morning when you told me about the tomato pie that we were going to have to get Estes to Jackson because tomato pies don't travel well. And you said
they don't travel well because there's never any to go.
Yeah,
when
you're
you
right.
Finish it off. We actually took some to go. Sal was there, but we got home and we immediately ate it. So anyway, it's a very simple pie made of fresh tomatoes that he puts out and salts a little bit and lets them weep to take some of the moisture out. And he just combines it with basil, fresh basil, lots of cheese.
Isn't there some cornmeal in there?
I don't know about that.
Because I know that he gave me I tried it one
Scallions.
time, but I'm not Estes.
Really good. Really, really good. Speaking, yeah.
Well, have you checked Cooking and Coping this week?
We were just looking over it, and there was a couple of posts. I saw Leanne did an eggplant parmesan.
Yeah,
and then
how about Shelley Ritter?
Shelley Ritter at the Delta Blues
Clarksdale,
Festival.
yeah.
I mean, the Delta Blues Museum.
A beautiful catfish over scarlet rice from Two Brooks Farms.
Yeah, I saw that. That's delicious looking. Well, and speaking of tomatoes, I got a load of produce from David and Melissa Patterson on Saturday morning. So I am loaded up with eggplant, squash, peppers, tomatoes, and I'm set for a little while. I shared a little bit of that with Bill Ellison this morning, but not a lot. You know, I have to keep it for myself.
I see a ratatouille in your future.
Do love a ratatouille. Hey, I was watching television yesterday, and after the baseball game when the Braves lost again, not a great year for Atlanta Braves, but I was just surfing around, and I have Fubo, and there on Fubo there is this channel called Taste Made. It's a food lifestyle kind of thing, and every now and again I will run across Jamie Oliver's Jamie Cooks Italy. I don't know if you've seen this.
No, I have not.
You know, he's, I think, from Britain,
Yes.
Great Britain, but he's over in Italy doing classic Italian dishes, and I love the format of this show. Jamie and an interpreter, a sidekick, I can't think of his name. They go to a chef, an Italian family, a grandmother who grows and cooks, and she will prepare and Jamie will assist in a traditional Italian meal. Then in the next episode, or the next segment of the episode, Jamie then riffs off of that dish and does sort of a Jamie Oliver interpretation. It's really a great show. It's called Jamie Cooks Italy. So anyway, for those of you who like Jamie Oliver, there you have it. Now, another thing on my list of things to share with you this morning is that while I was in Bay St. Louis, I was exploring Jesse Willis Lewis, the African-American chef from New Orleans, and his great cookbook that I talk about all the time, Jesse's Book of Creole and Deep South Recipes, published in 1954. And I went looking for Jesse's grave in Bay St. Louis. I'd heard that he came from New Orleans, he lived in Bay St. Louis, and was a professional cook for many years. Anyway, I found his tombstone. It took me 3 visits to Cedar Rest Cemetery, but I finally found it. And I'm excited about possibly getting a historical marker put up there to commemorate his contribution. You know, he was talked about in Tony Tipton Martin's the Jemima Code. The Jemima Code, about his book and his Creole dishes and his Gulf Coast specialties. And so he's sort of his cookbook is legendary. Big influence on me. But anyway, I'm kind of going down that trail of trying to commemorate Jesse and his contribution, and particularly the publication of this 1954 cookbook. And as I was surfing around, I noticed there was some first editions online, and they're selling for like $300, $400 for a first edition of Jesse's.
Wow, it's like an eBay thing?
Yeah.
Cool.
So there must have been a small, first edition, and then I think there were several editions after that. But anywho, if you're really interested, we're going to talk later in the show about Creole and Cajun cooking. If Jesse's book of Creole and Deep South recipes is a great one, published in 1954. So anyway, that was an adventure for me.
And then, a big thing is what I'm excited about is we have a Sherman in the house this morning.
We have cousin of Joe Sherman, the Lebanese Breeze, in the studio with us. John Sherman, we're glad you're here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, when we take a break, we'll come back, we're going to talk about Sno Biz. And I understand even before Sno Biz, you were in the restaurant business, right?
No, sir.
But your family.
My family, my father had a grocery store.
Sherman's.
My brother, Charles, took that over.
Okay. But no restaurants.
1985, and Sherman's restaurant in Greenville,
Mississippi. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Sherman's.
I was a basketball coach for 37 years.
Yeah, and you on the side you did the shaved ice.
That's
business.
right.
Side hustle.
That's right, a little side hustle.
Well, my dad was a basketball coach, high school and junior college. So anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back with John Sherman. We'll talk more about his enterprise Sno Biz, which is still open and running in Oxford, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, after 31 years. 31 years. Now, we didn't just start this snow cone business yesterday.
No, we didn't, and we were wishing we had one this morning.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Right back with Joe Sherman and other guest.
It would be John Sherman.
John.
It's one of them Shermans.
John,
George, Joe.
Cousin of Joe. Thank you, John. We'll be right back with John Sherman.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Every parent wants their child to grow, to explore, and to dream big. At MPB, we're proud to support families and teachers across Mississippi with trusted educational programming and resources that inspire learning and spark imagination. From PBS Kids favorites to digital tools and early learning support, MPB is here for young minds, engaged classrooms, and families who believe in the power of learning at every age. Empowering families, inspiring learners. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The nation's longest running traveling celebration of traditional arts, the National Folk Festival comes to downtown Jackson for the first time, November 7th through the 9th. A fun-filled weekend for the entire family, exploring roots, richness, and variety of American culture. Non-stop music and dance, folk life demonstrations, hands-on children's activities, signature Southern foods, crafts, and more showcasing the best of America, the best of Mississippi, all free. We'll see you in November. More at nationalfolkfestival.com.
Welcome back to Deep South Dining right here on MPB Think Radio, the neighborhood. Carol, we are back. So glad you're here.
So glad you're here, and so glad that John Sherman is here.
Sherman in the house.
There is a Sherman in the house. There's Shermans all over the state. But I thought we'd start this conversation with some Sherman history from Greenville. And how many Sherman brothers were there?
6 Sherman brothers, all Lebanese merchants in Greenville.
And who was your dad? Who was your dad? Who are your people?
My dad was Charles Sherman Sr.
And what was his trade? Your dad?
Grocery store.
Okay, so tell us all the 6 Sherman brothers, what they did.
Okay, the oldest was Floyd Sherman. He had a grocery store on the other side of town. And then there was George Sherman, and he worked at Jolin Bergman Shoe Store and then later owned it. And then Michelle Sherman had Sherman's clothing store. And then my father had Sherman's grocery on the other side of town from Brother Floyd. And Joe Sherman, Sr., Joe's father, was in the, he started out in the wholesale goods business. It was called Delta Wholesale. It was like Gibson's or a mini Walmart type deal. And but then later went into he had a sports parlor.
Yes.
A little cafe.
Yeah.
Where one could place a bet,
Well,
maybe under the table.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Play a little gin. My father spent many hours there playing gin. Big gin player. And
But I love the whole Lebanese merchants. I mean, the Lebanese
and there's
make
one more.
such a contribution. One more. We forgot one.
There's one more. That was just 5. And then Brother Dave, the baby, owned Greenville Lumber Company. And he was the last to pass away, actually. He lived in Oxford the later part of his years, and I got to spend a lot of good quality time with him. But I think he lived to be 96.
Now
So they could feed you, they could clothe you, could get
build
some
a house.
shoes, and then build house.
That's where everybody went for Easter shoes, to Jolin Bergman for George Sherman. So
wow. But you followed a different path. You were a coach.
correct.
And you started out right out of college, right out of school. How did you get started in the coaching business?
Not right out of college. I wanted to kind of let my roots or let my wild hair, get rid of my wild hair, so to speak.
Looks like you did a good job.
I went oil rigging right out of college and just get out there and do some stuff, and then decided that, okay, I've had enough of this. So I went back and got my master's.
The prodigal son comes home.
That's right, at Mississippi State. And started my coaching in 1980 at Riverside High School in Avon, Mississippi, and then did 2 years there, 2 years at Greenville St. Joe, which was our home school and where I graduated from high school and played sports. And in 1985, moved to Oxford to coach at Oxford High School, and did 12 years there. Fulfilled my lifelong only goal I ever had, the only material goal I ever had, was to be a college basketball coach. And Richard Williams hired me in 1997, and so I was on the Mississippi State men's basketball staff in 1997.
Wow.
And
that was quite an era.
I reached my goal and my dream, but it just didn't last very long.
That's a tough business, college sports.
It is. And so when that year was over and I was no longer needed, we moved back to Oxford. I had to make a decision of what I wanted to do, and like you said, it's a tough business, and I just didn't feel like jerking my 2 little girls around, chasing my dream. So I told my wife, I said, everybody's moving to Oxford, and we moved away. So I said, y'all want to go back? And they said yes. And I had just bought Sno Biz in 1995, a little shaved ice business. And so I had that to kind of fall back on.
You already had that.
I did. I had it, and I didn't sell it.
Okay.
I was going to sell it
when you moved to Starkville.
When I moved to Starkville.
But you chose not to.
Chose not to, and I let 2 high school girls run it for me.
Okay.
And, I said, even if it loses money or breaks even, it's still mine.
Right.
So we kept it. And
it was on University Avenue at the time.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. And you were there like 20-something years.
19 years.
19 years.
Yep. And relocated to North Lamar.
Because they were going to develop the property you were on.
Exactly.
So you moved
Which
north.
was AutoZone. AutoZone
yeah.
leased that property. And so we moved right next to the Beacon.
Right.
People said, well, you think they'll find you over there? And I said, Well, they found the beacon for 55 years.
Yes.
And sadly, it just closed.
That's right.
Unfortunate.
Just
But Sno Biz lives on.
Lives on.
Well, tell us about snow cone business.
Okay. Well, as a basketball coach, and in the 80s and 90s, you know, salaries, I think my first salary was $13,000. And when I moved to Oxford, they bumped it to 20, and I thought, yes,
I'm going to be a millionaire.
I've gotten into the 20s. And so always trying a side hustle to, you know, because back then you couldn't do anything with your athletes. No summertime activity, you know, and that's probably the way it ought to be.
Correct.
Because everything is year round now. I mean, every
kids, they
sports.
don't get to be kids.
They don't. They really don't. You know, and they have to choose now.
Yeah.
You know, the 3-sport athlete is just gone almost. Yeah. So anyway, cut grass, painted houses, little handyman work here and there. Did it. And my brothers and sisters, I was the baby of the family. I guess still am. And they were always looking for different ways for me to make money. And so Joe wants me to tell this story, so that's why I'm kind of on this. My sister, my older sister, who's right above me, said, "You ought to buy a snow cone stand." I said, "Jane, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I can tell you what I ain't going to do. I ain't buying no dang snow cone stand." Famous last words.
Correct.
31 years later. So I passed by the building on University Avenue and had a for sale sign on it one day. I said, nah. I drove in there real quick, got out, wrote the number down, ran back to my truck. I didn't want anybody to see me.
Well, particularly your sister.
Yeah, I didn't want anybody to see what I was doing or think that I was interested. Anyway, long story short, and I hope this doesn't get too boring, but I went to the bank because this is a great story that I used to tell at summer basketball camps. Not because it was my story, but just because it's a great story, I think, for kids to know. And what that story is that I was very fortunate to guide the Oxford Charger basketball team to a state championship my second year there. And right after that, so right after that was Oxford's first state championship ever, team sport. And now there's like 70 plus.
Right.
So anyway, I was the big man in town.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, second year there, first state championship, blah, 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 blah. So I go to ask my banker for a loan to buy this snow business. He says, nope. What?
Do you know who I
Yeah.
am?
Do you know who you're talking to? I said, what do you mean no? He said, nope. I said, I don't think you can make enough money. I don't think you can sell enough snowballs in a day to pay back this loan. And he was a sports guy. He knew me as John Sherman, the basketball coach. That's how he knew me, because he was a sports guy. He said, why don't you go across the street to another bank, see what they'll say.
I will.
I will. Went across the street, walked into a Mr. Jerry Young's office at First National Bank. And so to proceed that just a little bit, during that tenure of coaching in Oxford at first, I threw newspapers.
Okay.
I threw the Clarion Ledger, Tupelo Daily Journal, and USA Today, 365 days a year, from 5 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the morning. My principal, Gerald Hasselman, as many of you may know, was a fine educator, God rest his soul, was my principal. And he gave me first period off.
So you could throw newspapers.
So in case I had a flat tire or the papers were late or whatever the deal may be. So from 5 to 7 every morning. Well, every morning, not every morning, a few times during that tenure, I would see this man coming out of the Chevron, the four-corner Chevron. I was loading up the paper stand. He was coming out with a cup of coffee to go duck hunting. And we would just greet each other. Hello, good morning, sir. Good morning, young man. Good morning, sir. That may have happened 3 or 4 times. Didn't know who he was. So I go now I'm in his office at First National Bank. Same guy. And I told him what I wanted to do, told him what I needed. He said, well, Mr. Sherman, how soon do you need this money? I said, well, today would be nice. He said, how about 15 minutes?
Wow.
I said, yes, sir. He comes back, he puts the check on the desk, and he says, you know why I'm giving you this check? And so when I'm telling this story to kids,
right?
I didn't say this to him, but when I tell the story to kids, I say, yeah, because I'm John Sherman, the state championship basketball coach. That's why you're giving me this check. No. He said, I'm giving you this check because I've seen you at 5 o'clock in the morning. Excuse me, sometimes I just get teary-eyed thinking about it. He said, and I got no problem knowing that you'll make this thing work.
Wow.
You are known by your work.
What a great story.
So what I told the kids, I said, the moral of the story is you never know who's watching you. You never know who's checking you out.
Yeah.
I said, how you talk to the cafeteria lady, how you handle the janitor at school, how you talk to your bus driver, how you treat people. Everybody, you never know who's watching you. You never know who you're going to need. So that's
great. It's a great story. Hey, tell us the difference between a shaved ice and, say, a snow cone or a snowball.
Great question, okay? You're obviously got a lot of New Orleans influence by hearing you talk about the Creole and the cookbook. New Orleans people may have, but they think they created the snowball, what they call the snowball. Right. And they get offensive. They get offensive if you call it a snow cone. Louisiana people.
Right.
Mississippians call it snow cones. Doesn't matter how you shave it or what you do, it's a snow cone to people in Mississippi. But it's not a snow cone. A snow cone is what we used to get at the ballpark and chase the truck down the street with a paper pointed cup.
Yep.
Right.
With crushed ice.
Yeah.
With grape, cherry, and orange.
Right.
So a snowball or a shaved ice is what Sno Biz likes to call it, a shave ice, not without a D. Shave ice. Shave ice. It's just finely shaved ice that I think the people in New Orleans, they built their own, and in Hawaii, they built their own shavers or shaved it manually. But it's premium quality shave ice, just like snow. I mean, it can be as fine as the new fallen snow. So it's eaten in a cup, not a pointed cup, but a cup with a spoon. And of course, we have delicious multiple flavors that reach.
How many flavors?
I don't know. Maybe
They're just
60,
a whole lot.
Over 60. And of course, we make flavors up. And
what's your best seller?
Our best seller for, I think, 25 or 27, 8 years is homemade ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
And homemade ice cream with Sno Biz, it's vanilla flavoring with condensed milk on top.
I was going to say, it's got to have condensed milk.
It's condensed milk on top. And I'm telling you, it tastes just like 4th of July, hand cranking, homemade ice cream.
I can taste it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, my
I want to tell a quick story.
Please
about
do.
That. So my first year or two, I'm in the hut, and this Woody drives up. You know what a Woody is,
A Woody wagon?
Sure.
Huh?
A Woody wagon?
That's right. Drives up long, 15 feet long, with wood on the side. Old man gets out looks like the American is it American Gothic with
the with pitchfork.
With the pitchfork.
Yeah.
Looks like that kind of guy with overalls on. He can't even walk hardly. He's the gravel parking lot that I was in at the time. He's holding on to the side of the woody as a prop to get to the ordering deck, and I said, "Ho, stop!" I said, "Stop!" I said, "I'll come to you. Just get back in the car." I go. I said, "What would y'all like?" "We want 2 homemade ice creams." I mean, this guy came from the lower 40 somewhere, to get a homemade ice cream snowball.
Everybody loves the snowball.
He came to town.
He came to
a
town.
Snowball.
That's right. So I thought, this is pretty good. It must be pretty good.
Well, I have to ask you a question about your menu. I mean, I'm fascinated that you have snowballs and tamales.
Well, he's from the Delta.
That's right. But I've seen several snowball places that have tamales. But what my brother with the restaurant sold these tamales from Hot Tamale Heaven in Greenville.
Right.
And
that's a lady, I can't think of her name, right? So,
no, that's a man, Willie Harmon.
Okay.
And so my brother Willie credits my brother for giving him his big start with a customer that he could sell wholesale to. And we shut down at the end of it. Used to shut down at the end of October. Now it's end of September, and so I was still having to pay rent. In October, November, December, January, February. We opened back up in March and April or whatever. I said I still have to pay rent, and I don't have any income. So I thought, what can I do anyway? So I thought I'm gonna sell tamales during the winter. So I started selling tamales and.
Well, I think it's great. Now we need to head to Oxford for tamales and a snow cone.
I should have brought you
and
some.
Snowball.
I should have brought you some.
Yeah.
Shave.
Yeah. Shave. Ice.
Shave. Ice. So is this a family recipe for these tamales? Anything about them that you can share that's unique or that people? I'm not asking you for the recipe.
Not my family.
What meat do y'all use, for example?
Well, everybody wants to know that. They want to know what's in it, and where'd it come from? Where'd you get these?
Right.
And so, it's beef tamales.
Beef.
Willie Harmon, his family, they make it.
That's right. You buy them from Hot Tamale Heaven.
Hot Tamale Heaven.
Beef.
And it's a delicious hot tamale.
Yes.
And I wouldn't sell it if I didn't think it wasn't the best.
Well, I think the snowball goes with the hot. I mean, you have a hot tamale. I have
a good clientele of people in Oxford that will want my tamales.
So the stand is now open year round because you do tamales in the winter?
No, sir. I shut down at the end of September when I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but now.
If somebody wants tamales while you're closed,
they call me.
And you got them in the freezer.
That's right.
I got it. All right, here's what's going to happen, Carol. We're going to take another break, and we're going to shift gears when we come back. We've got the MC of this year's Natchez Food and Wine Festival, Jay Ducote, chef, educator, fascinating guy. He's going to tell us not only about the Natchez Food and Wine, but he's also going to tell us, in his opinion, the difference between Creole and Cajun food.
I'm down for it, Mal.
Thank you, John Sherman. You're a delightful storyteller and quite the serial entrepreneur, my friend. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you. It's been my great pleasure to be here and meet both of you. Got a great show, and thanks a lot.
All right, we'll be right back after a very short break with more Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio.
Hi, I'm Ryder Taff, co-host of
Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian. We believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting. which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hello, I'm Desiree Frazier, host of the award-winning news program, Mississippi Edition. We bring you conversations about the latest news from across the Magnolia State. Whether it's politics, healthcare, or education, you'll hear in-depth discussions on issues that matter to you. So join us each weekday morning at 8:30 on MPB Think Radio, or download the podcast, listen through the app, and online.
Everlasting, the Legacy Podcast, is the official companion podcast to the upcoming MPB original documentary, focusing on the life of Medgar Evers. The companion podcast, hosted by me, Rita Brent, will feature in-depth conversations, extended interviews, and exclusive archive footage not shown in the documentary. Everlasting, the Legacy Podcast, video and audio episodes premiere September 18th. Find it on mpbonline.org or wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back to the MPB Think Radio neighborhood. This is Deep South Dining. Malcolm White with Carol Palmer. Good morning, Carol.
Morning, Mal.
That was fun.
That was fun, and it's going to get funner.
John Sherman. And now we shift gears from Sno Biz and shave ice to Jay Ducote.
And a little spice.
Do I have that right, Jay?
You got it, Malcolm. Absolutely.
It's good to see you, my friend.
Good morning.
Tell us, you've been at the Natchez Food and Wine Fest all weekend, right?
That's right. I was in Natchez over the weekend, emceeing the big food and wine festival on Friday, and then enjoying myself around town on Saturday. And it was a great turnout, fantastic event, lots of wonderful wine and spirits and beer from mostly from Mississippi and Louisiana. And some great chefs from around the state of Mississippi, quite a few from Louisiana, some from Tennessee as well. It was a really good turnout.
What year was this for the festival?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I'm not sure. It was my first year to be involved with it.
Has to be at least 20. Has to be.
I would say so.
I think,
I don't remember seeing anything advertised about what year it was, but I think so. It's been going on for a little while.
So who were some of the chefs that you had?
Well, there were a whole bunch of chefs from all the area. There were a lot from Natchez itself, from the Pig Out Inn, and from some other places. Chef Corey Barr from Monroe was there with his team. There was the team from Mr. Mao's in New Orleans. And there were some great chefs I know from Jackson and Oxford.
Mm-hmm. Chaz Lindsay was there. I saw some social media with Chaz.
Chaz was there for sure. And then some more as well. It was fun for me to walk around and meet a lot of them.
What does the MC do at the Natchez Food and Wine Festival besides drink and eat?
Yeah, that's a great question. The invitation to come MC kind of meant, cool, I get to come eat and drink, and I eat and drink for a living, so that works out.
I know, that's working out pretty great for you.
Yeah, exactly. They put a microphone in my hand and had me welcome guests and thank sponsors throughout the show. And then during the heart of the Food and Wine Festival, as everybody's walking around eating and drinking, I did the same. I just had a microphone with me and would interview some of the chefs and get them to tell me what they were cooking and how excited they were to be there and be part of it. And then, of course, at the end, I was on stage announcing the winners of the People's Choice for beer, wine, and spirits, and the judges' choices for the dishes of the night from the chefs.
Well, it sounds like a tough gig. I hope you got some rest after all that. And
yeah, I got a little bit for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about. I mean, you're a Renaissance guy. I mean, you've studied economics, political science. You have a master's degree in political science, and here you are eating and drinking and telling stories for a living. What's up with that?
I've done quite a few things in life that have kind of taught me more about what I don't want to do instead of what I do want to do. I think getting a master's in political science was one of those. I kind of said, well, now I've seen how the sausage is made in politics, and I'd rather go make sausage.
Yeah.
want nothing to do with that anymore. I taught high school math and coached baseball for a couple years before I really kind of fell into the food world through blogging and writing. And it was the 2009 to 2011 is really when I got my start in that. And it was the early days of social media and the early days of food blogging. I was one of the early adopters in that, based out of Baton Rouge, and really kind of made a name for myself in the food world through writing and blogging and things like that, and then got into really early podcasting and had a food and drink radio show on the air in Baton Rouge for a decade, and just kind of grew everything from there. But the more that I cooked for the blog, the more that I had people interested in eating my food, and also the more that I had opportunities come along to do different TV shows and things like that. So in 2011, I was cast on season 2 of MasterChef on Fox and got flown out to Los Angeles to cook for Gordon Ramsay. And I promptly got kicked off the show, but it was kind of one of those awakenings for me that I said, well, I can either go back to a boring corporate job, or I can dedicate myself to this and I can learn more about food and more about cooking and get better at it. And so that's what I did. I actually quit my day job by the end of 2011 and was on my own doing food blogging and writing and some private dinners and anything else I could find to keep myself busy. And then by 2015, I was actually cast on the TV show Food Network Star, and I was on that show for the entirety. Ended up finishing runner-up on season 11 of Food Network Star in 2015.
You showed Gordon.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Hey, speaking of your writing, I know that you wrote a piece for ExploreLouisiana.com explaining the history and the differences between Cajun and Creole. Wonder if you'd share a little bit of that with our listeners.
Well, sure. I think as I travel and do a lot of, certainly travel around the country and even some around the world, representing Louisiana and celebrating Louisiana food, you see Cajun and Creole intertwined a lot more. In Louisiana, I think they're really, understandably a lot more separated. Cajun truly is the food of the Acadians, the French people that were exiled out of Canada by the British and then made their way back into the New World through South Louisiana and settled in the swamps and the prairies of South Louisiana. But they were of French descent, and certainly they had influence in their food from native populations around there or other populations that settled the area. There were so many different countries, nationalities, people, all the Europeans, the French certainly were a big part of it, but the British, the Germans, the Italians all settled in South Louisiana somewhere. Usually they had kind of their own communities, but those Cajun French were the most widespread, and those were really the Cajuns. Creole has a number of different meanings. I think in the sense of cuisine, most of the time I look at it as more the food of New Orleans and the food of the city and the melting pot of food. It's where the African and the Caribbean and the Italian and the French and the English all came together, and so you get a lot more of that refined New Orleans cuisine. You get a lot more cooking with butter and cooking with things that you would find in the city, I would say, or tomatoes as well. Tomatoes is a Creole staple. It's I think one of the easiest ways to tell the cuisine apart from each other is if there's some sort of really nice butter sauce on a trout almondine or something, that's Creole, not Cajun. And then also if there's tomatoes in the gumbo or tomatoes in the jambalaya, that's Creole, not Cajun. But it's really, the deeper you dive, the more you realize how many intersections there are with all of that and with all the people that settled this area and the people that were here before. And you realize how much of the South's cuisine, Louisiana's cuisine, is also influenced by African cuisine and by the culture that was brought over a lot of times through the Caribbean. When you're talking about New Orleans, it wasn't just straight across the Atlantic. It was through a lot of the Caribbean islands and stuff, and then up into the port of New Orleans. And you see all those influences on our food. And after getting a master's in political science and then trying to find a way to eat and drink for a living, I realized what I should have done was just study the foodways and how civilization spread across the world through the lens of food.
Wow. Well, what a great way to discover it, though, hands-on with food through that particular lens as opposed to sitting in a classroom reading it out of a book.
And you're in one of the greatest food laboratories in the world where all of those cultures came together. So there could be no better place to study food.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think one of the things that makes Louisiana food so unique is the diversity of contributions that went into defining what that food is. The word gumbo is an African word that truly means okra. And I don't even put okra in most of my gumbo that I cook now. If I'm making a duck and andouille gumbo, I'm usually not putting okra in it, but that's really the translation of the word. And you just see so many different influences across the board, and also the native people that were here as well. You see a lot of that, and I know that you see that across a lot of the South as well. But I think you really end up seeing a lot of that still here in Louisiana's food.
Are you a filet man?
Not entirely. No, I have used it before, and I do like the flavor of it. I don't necessarily like to use it as a thickener or enough to really thicken anything. I'm a dark roux guy. But I've got some filet in the house, but I don't use a whole lot of it in my gumbo.
That's the dried leaves of the sassafras tree used,
yep,
I think,
right.
originally by, of course, the Native Americans to thicken dishes. It wasn't necessarily gumbo. It was just as a thickener. And it has just a great flavor as well.
So what's on your plate now? What are you up to?
So the biggest project I've got going on right now is a fishing and cooking TV show that's sponsored by Mossy Oak, a great Mississippi company.
Exactly.
Mossy Oak sponsors the show, as well as a Beat a Beer and Slap Your Mama Cajun Seasoning and Community Coffee and Bayou Classic Cooking. That's Bayou Classic's a Mississippi company as well. But it's called Catch and Cook, Louisiana Catch and Cook. It airs on Mossy Oak's YouTube, as well as a streaming TV service called Waypoint TV. That is it's a TV channel available on DirecTV, on a Samsung Smart TV, on a Roku, on anything like that. You can find Waypoint TV and it'll air on there. But it's a project with the Louisiana Charter Boat Association. And so the idea is that me and a friend, it's sometimes a chef from around the country. One of the episodes this season, it'll be my dad, but me and a guest go out fishing with a Louisiana charter captain, and then we cook what we catch, and we celebrate the food around wherever we're fishing. So we go out of different, we go out fishing out of different ports and out of different places to go fishing in Louisiana. We stay at some sort of fishing camp or Airbnb kind of a situation, and then we cook what we catch as well. So it's a lifestyle fishing and cooking show that we've wrapped the second season of, and it's airing right now. The next episode will come out this Saturday on Waypoint TV and Mossy Oak's YouTube. But if you go to Mossy Oak's YouTube page, there's a Catch and Cook playlist where you can find all the episodes from last year and the ones that have aired so far this year.
So I know you've written at least one book, Jay Ducote's Louisiana Outdoor Cooking. Are there other cookbooks as well?
That's the one right now. I am currently working on a second book that will be more of a memoir style book of my journey through food media as food media has evolved. That book will be, well, I don't know when it's going to come out. I'm working on it right now. Hopefully I'll finish writing it this year, and then we can figure out what the publication timeline is. I have a deal with the LSU Press, which published my cookbook as well, to publish the memoir. But yeah, Jay Ducote's Louisiana Outdoor Cooking is the only book I have out right now. That's the cookbook. It's a lot of grilling and outdoor cast iron pots and tailgate recipes and hunting camp recipes and things like that. It's available most places books are sold, certainly online on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or anywhere like that. If you go to jayducote.com, you can find it there or find links.
Great.
So, yeah, that was my question. How do people find you?
Yeah, the best way is the website. If just jayducote.com, JAYDUCOTE, jayducote.com. Of course, that's just Jay Ducote on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere else you want to look, and those links are all on the website as well. And there's a lot more information there on the website of how to get in touch with me, or you can read more about me or find a link to the cookbook or anything like that.
Well, Jay, you are a fascinating guy. I'm so glad we got to chat with you today. And I'm going to go home tonight and watch one of those episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, make it happen.
You know, I can't believe how many shows now are on YouTube. It's a great platform, and I really encourage people to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're live on YouTube right now, so hi, everybody watching.
That's right.
Hey, yeah.
You got that right. All right, we got to run, Jay, but hey, what is the nationality of Ducote? Where do you come
Cajun
from?
It's Cajun French.
Cajun French,
yeah,
okay.
It's Ducote, but yeah, just it's Ducote as it's gotten Americanized over the years. But yeah, it's Cajun French. Pretty much all the Ducotes trace their roots back to Avoyelles Parish, kind of right in the middle of the state. It's northern Cajun country, a little south of Alexandria, Louisiana. Marksville is the biggest city in Avoyelles Parish, and my dad's from Cottonport, Louisiana.
Did you grow up in the Prairie Mardi Gras tradition or not?
I didn't. I was born in Baton Rouge and lived in Baton Rouge through first grade, and then second grade through high school. I was actually in suburban Houston.
Oh boy!
And then came back to go to LSU.
Okay.
So
glad you got reindoctrinated.
Yeah, that's right. But I do really enjoy that Prairie Cajun tradition and the chasing of the chickens and all that.
And the making of the gumbo. Yeah.
Yeah,
all right,
I've
man.
gotten to do that in Mamu several times.
Good for you. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll get you back sometime and spend more time getting to know you. Thanks for what you do. Deep South Dining is a production of Mississippi Public Broadcasting's Think Radio. We are made possible thanks to the generous contributions from folks like yourself, and we thank you. If you enjoy our show, our stories, our flavors, our community, we ask you to please consider making a contribution to keep shows like this on the air. You can visit mpbonline.org or show your support by using the MPB app. Our show is produced by Marissa Vaughn. For our guests, John Sherman, Jay Ducote, and my co-host Carol Palmer, I'm Malcolm White saying thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday.